cannot continue to rely only on our military in order to achieve the national security objectives that we've set. We've got to have a civilian national security force that's just as powerful, just as strong, just as well-funded.
We have to have a civilian national security force that's just as strong, just as powerful, just as well-funded as the U.S. military. That was Barack Hussein Obama months before the election in a little-known speech not played by the little pimps in the media, not played by the little prostitutes with lipstick. It makes me sick to think that they are the reasons this man. He is a very powerful force. What did Obama mean by a civilian national security force? Will they be Obama's green shirts? Will they be an army of green shirts who come around to your house, knock on the door, and you have to let them in to see what your energy use is, while they're really looking around for some inflammatory literature, perhaps, for a massive book burning? Will we enter Fahrenheit 451? Where are we going with this man? I fear mass hysteria. Now, you look backwards and you see what Bush did, and you realize that Bush and his cronies didn't know what they were doing. Every step he took and Paulson took to prop up the economy failed. Every time they stole our money from us, it failed. Despite all the sophistry and outdated lies that Bush and Paulson and the other cretins were telling us, they failed. The country now stands on the precipice of a total and absolute financial collapse. And you can thank George Bush's arrogance. You can thank the hubris of Paulson and the fools on Wall Street, the strutters and the serial incompetence of the government. And I'm asking you if you actually think that the next wave of government is going to be any different. To me, it's the same sophistry, the same hubris, the same outdated mentality from government types who do not know the first thing about a free market economy. And so I don't have much hope for Obama. I have extremely deep fears about Obama. And I'd like to ask you what your hopes or fears are. Harry in Fort Lauderdale is a hopeful man. Harry's calling the Savage Nation. Harry, what are your greatest hopes for Obama?
Well, Dr. Savage, I'm hoping that Obama will establish a friendship and alliance with Russia, because trying to police the world by ourselves is killing us, both financially and otherwise. Britain, our so-called closest ally, contributed only 5,000 troops in to our efforts in Iraq. We sustained 4,000 fatalities. They suffered only 200. And now they've pulled out completely. What kind of an alliance is that? We don't need token commitments or moral support.
Well, we can go backwards and talk about the war. Bush destroyed his own administration and the whole Republican Party with this war that he would not end and that he would not win. He was like a cancer doctor in the sense of how he pursued this war. He would not kill and he would not cure. The fact of the matter is he's the worst doctor we've ever had. Now, you want an alliance with Russia. Right now, Russia has almost become our Cold War enemy again. You know that, Harry, don't you?
Well, no. I think Russia has demonstrated its opposition to radical Islam by its military campaigns in Chechnya and Afghanistan.
Whoa. You're talking about 10 years ago. Let's move the clock up now, Harry. Russian ships are within 100 miles of our shore. They're visiting Cuba right now. Why do you suppose that is?
When the Russians were fighting the Taliban, what did we do? We armed bin Laden. The Russians were doing our dirty work for us, yet we foolishly thwarted them.
Well, I agree with you. You have no argument with me. I remember the arming of the Taliban. They were our best friend at the time. But I'm asking you, why do you suppose the Russian Navy is visiting Cuba right now after visiting the tyrant of Venezuela?
Why? Because we've been meddling in their affairs. And,
you have no argument with me on that. Bush and that moron, Condoleezza Rice, by backing the nation of which, fill in the blank, in their attempts to steal land that was owned by Russia, provoked Russia into this position. That's my opinion.
Exactly.
We're talking about Georgia. When George Bush and that moron college professor, Condoleezza Rice, backed that would-be little petty dictator of Georgia in his attempts to take over disputed land that was owned by Russia, Russia was forced to act in its own self-interest. That's how I see it.
Did you know that FDR in his memoirs stated that there would never be peace in the world without cooperation between Russia and the United States?
But Harry, that was then, this is now. China is a bigger issue than the Soviet Union.
Well, but every time Putin extends his hand of friendship, we push it away. Russia can be a crucial bulwark.
Yes, particularly since Russia has moved somewhat towards the free market system. And just as Russia moved toward the free market system, we've moved toward the socialist system. Isn't that interesting, Harry? That as far as they've moved towards free markets, we've moved in the other direction towards socialism. Isn't that quite interesting, Harry?
Well, that is interesting, and a friend of mine predicted that 20 years ago.
You know who predicted that 60 years ago? Aldous Huxley. In the 50s, Aldous Huxley wrote that as the Soviet Union becomes more and more like the United States of America, the United States of America will become more like the ex-Soviet Union. He said that in the 1950s. He saw it was coming, Harry. And my deepest fear is that Obama represents a move into a Soviet era in the United States of America.
Yeah,
you don't have that. You don't have that fear of Obama, though.
No, I don't. If it was up to me, I would apologize to Russia for what we did to them.
Well, let's forget Russia for a minute. You're an Obama supporter. You're an intelligent man. You know history. Doesn't it worry you that Obama gave a speech calling for a civilian national security force? What does that mean, Harry?
Yes, that does worry me. I don't know what he means by that. I don't know what he has in mind. But I would keep on top of that
All right. Harry, you're a wonderful, wonderful resource for the Savage Nation out of Fort Lauderdale, and I appreciate it. I love the old-timers who know their history just as much as I love the newcomers to the Savage Nation who have the passion but perhaps not the history. But they know what's up somehow intuitively. And my job is to articulate the what's up in more words than one. 1-800-449-8255.